Hi folks, so really excited. This is, as a car comes past, this is the first episode of Heartbeats and Horsepower. So it's a series that I'm going to do where I get to meet not only the bikes, but I meet the riders as well, hence the term Heartbeats and Horsepower. So we get to share a little bit of information about bikes, some technical information, but more importantly, we get to share the rider's perspective, the owner's perspective, what that bike is like to live with, what it's like to ride, what's good about it, what's not so good about it. And the idea really with this video series is that it will complement the channel, especially because in the lives, as you will know, Ben, because you're one of my moderators and co-hosts, that we get lots of questions about specific bikes, but somebody might ask a question about a bike that we've never ridden. So sometimes we can only go by what we've heard or what we've read in the media, and we can share that information, but what better than just to get the person who's living with that bike to share their thoughts and their experience as well. So that's the idea. So we've got Ben, and Ben is here on his GXSR750. This is a 2007 model. So the GXSR750 began life back in back in 1985, and then went through a series of facelifts and changes and remodels, and this one is of the 2006 to 2010 era, arguably the best. In 2011 Suzuki changed the GXSR600, 750 and so on. They changed a lot of the engine characteristics, they made them a little bit more revvy, and some die-hard GXSR fans weren't too happy with that newer model. And this is, labelled as the best middleweight sports bike of its era, and I think I would agree with that, but for reasons we'll get into shortly. So very quickly, and then I'll get some information from Ben. This is a 749cc inline-4 engine, so a traditional Japanese sports bike engine. It has a claimed 148 horsepower at 12,000 RPM. Just to put that into perspective, the GXSR600 has a claimed 125 horsepower, and the GXSR1000 of the same age has a claimed 185. So as you would expect, this is slap bang in the middle. It's that perfect compromise. The weight is 194 kilograms wet, so that's including oil and fluids. And an interesting point that I've always noticed about GXSRs is the seat height tends to be lower than some of its competitors. So if you're really tall like I am, at a massive 5'7", if you want to be able to flat foot a sports bike, then try one of these for size. I can flat foot this easy compared to my Fireblade where I'm on the balls of my feet. So yeah, that might be an interesting thing to be aware of. So let's get into it then. So Ben, how long have you had this bike?
So I've had it 16 years. It's a little bit of a story. My housemate, who we're both farm kids, and so both grew up on dirt bikes around the farm. I was on the road riding 1100 GXSR 1100WN, I think it was.
Oh wow.
And he had a quick spin on that and just thought, oh yeah. So he went and did his full test, having not ridden on the road, so insurance was going to be a problem. So we went off, looked around, couldn't find much, and a lot of the dealers were trying to push him into 400 because they were thinking, you've just done your test, let's not go, which is quite right, and I'm sure there's an obligation for him to do that, but that's not who he is. And I was thinking, you're going to be bored in like 8 minutes probably on the ride home on your bike, and you're just going to get disappointed in it. So I was sort of egging him to go for something a bit bigger, and I went down to our local GXSR dealer and wandering around, and the salesman came over and, what are you guys up to? So I just told them the story. And well, it's funny you guys turn up because Suzuki at the moment are paying for 2 years comprehensive insurance if you buy the bike today. So
I wish they all did that today.
I know, bonkers. I wouldn't think they dared. I don't think they've done it since then, to be fair.
No.
So he picked it up. It was all going really well, did 900 miles on it, but he's got a rugby injury and it's just the wrong seating position for him. So he had to go for something a bit gentler, like I said. I think he's on a Z750 after that. And then so I just had a shot on this because he said have a shot, and as soon as I sat on it, I was like, oh wow,
fell in love straight away.
So I've had it for about 16 years and about 42,000 miles.
Wow, that's a fair bit of mileage. I mean, I guess it's not, if you average that out over 16 years or so, then that's not necessarily a high mileage.
No.
But enough for you to have lived with it and to have maintained it, and maybe done a couple of repairs, and then really got to know it, riding in different conditions, I guess. So, over the course of the time that you've had it there, so what have you done to the bike in terms of, let's talk about repairs first.
Okay, so the only negative thing I love about this bike, and it's not a negative thing at all, it's just that they have a few party pieces. This one's done a lot. I was thinking I was getting away with one of them, and it then did it about a week after I thought, oh, it's not done that before ever. And then I walked into the garage and there was all over the floor. So, yeah, okay, you were listening. And it was probably protesting at my bad riding. So, so the oil on the floor, you basically come back to your bike and it's oil everywhere. There's a seal in the water pump that fails on them, so it did that, but not to like. So
that's quite known on the.
Yeah, it's and then the sighting of the reg is right up with the exhaust of the radiator, and so they get super hot and they fail, and it's just it's one of these things. I've seen a few lads on the side of the road stop and say, "All right, mate, GXSR750, yeah, I know what that is," and what you have to watch is that when you realise it's going, you need to catch it, because there's been stories of it overcharging and then screwing the ECU.
Oh, right, okay.
So there's one lad at the side of the road I was chatting to, and he said, yeah, I told the garage to sort this, because it was that. They said, no, it wasn't. And he said he was pretty sure it's now fried the ECU as well.
Wow.
So he was not happy bunny. Really, other than that, nothing, just bike stuff, the usual. It's never not ever failed to go. Well, the other thing is the starter solenoid, but I don't know whether that's a party piece or whether that's just this one. And that was out in Wales in the dark, and of course I can't remember the scenario, but if you bump start it and whatever was going on, you wouldn't get the headlights. So I rode home from deepest Wales
with no headlights,
with side lights and the hazards on. It was great fun.
No way.
And of course, until we got back to the part I live in, where everyone flash, having done like 2 hours with no one, just everyone leaving me alone, just coming wide. So and
I bet that was interesting.
It was good fun. 43,000 miles. I toss it up every bill this has had, including tyres, exhausts, brakes, and it's 8,600 quid over its whole life from day one.
That's actually not that bad if
you
think about it. Really, for what 16? You've had it 16 years.
Yeah, and that's the bills from before as well.
Years old,
so it's 18 years worth of. That's every bill it's ever had, and it includes tyres.
Yeah.
So
brilliant.
And I've got the 2 CTs like you have. And they do not last long in the back.
No, they don't. Depending on how you.
So that works out at 20p a mile for everything except tax, insurance, and fuel, which for this much fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
And these are, to my mind, these are not unreliable bikes. They just have their thing. So if you're buying one, you want to make sure that it's had that done, budget a little bit to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, mate. And I think, like you say, people buy these because they love them, and not just die-hard Suzuki fans, but like I think that if people are into sports bikes in general, especially from this era, mid to late 2000s, then I think everybody would at least appreciate what the GXSR750 is.
I might be wrong. I'm sure people will say the Comics fan, but I think the GXSR750 was the first sports bike. I think it's the bike that started the whole sports bike world.
Yeah, back in '85.
Yeah, the old oil cooled. Yeah.
So in terms of upgrades of the bike, have you done anything?
Performance-wise, nothing. It's completely stock. It's even on a standard air filter. There's a power commander. The only thing that might be questionable is it's decatted it.
Right. Okay.
So that's gone. So maybe the weight of that exhaust alone is.
So it's going to breathe a little bit easier and be a little bit.
And then some very basic cosmetics: power bronze bubble screen, stubby levers. I've got the indicators that blend in with the brake lights and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all the small, all the
the
small cosmetic stuff like that. Nothing substantial.
Okay. And to be honest, I'm the same. I mean, my Fireblade is pretty much stock, except for an exhaust and then some cosmetic stuff. Because I think that yes, we could put power commanders on there. We can map them for more horsepower, quick action controls. And I think I would do all of that if I had a second bike and I could just experiment. But actually, it's not necessary, unless you're riding on the track a lot and chasing lap times. Then of course those really do come into play. But for road riding like you and I think you don't as stock, they are good,
Yeah.
good enough as well.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. As you know, most of the guys I ride with, they've all got litre bikes.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of the roads, on a track, different story. If it was all empty straight roads, of course it's a different story.
Yeah.
But that's not what the UK is about. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, what's it really like when you're riding then? How would you describe what it feels like to ride the GXSR750?
Tight and planted
Right,
is the only way. But the first time I rode it, having got off my sort of iron 1100 thing, it was,
Iron horse.
yeah. As soon as you moved off of this, it just stood up.
Yeah.
And it just feels stuck and planted.
Yeah.
And with plenty of power, that's what I would say. It gives you a lot of confidence.
Right. Yeah.
It really does give you confidence beyond.
Yeah. It goes where you want it to go.
Yeah.
And I guess like I can relate to that because the Fireblade for me does exactly the same. It goes exactly where I want it to go. The front end feels planted.
Yeah.
It gives you loads of confidence, and I've never had a sketchy moment with the front end of the Fireblade.
No.
I mean, granted, I don't push it to its limits,
No.
and I probably couldn't on the road anyway. But I've never had a sketchy moment with the handling or especially the front end.
Same with this.
Yeah.
I've had you're down in Cheddar Gorge where it's very narrow and some of in moments and stuff, but it's not the bike and it stays planted.
Yeah.
It does not wash out or give up and it's on all technology tyres. These are 2CTs, which I love.
Yeah.
But we're not mucking about with the latest sticky tyres or anything.
No.
So
So is she a keeper forever?
basically that is the line I'm at the minute.
Yeah.
So I think in the last 2 or 3 years it's had quite a lot spent on it, but it's not the bike's fault. So I need a new full exhaust system because they rotted out, but that's because I ride all year.
Yeah.
And I didn't wash it properly, so it's had mud on it, so that's not the bike's fault. Radiator needed record because that had stones in it again. It's just part of life. So I think it's now I've probably spent its value in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of, do you keep it? What do you do?
Yeah.
I'm just at that. But I think one of the things I'm tempted to, there's a guy on TikTok who does suspension and stuff.
Right.
And it needs 2 new forks because again, stone chips not the bike's fault.
Yeah.
We tried all the tricks and they're not working. So I'm thinking, do you just go bonkers mad and just trick out the suspension and do another 43,000 miles on it?
It's tempting.
Yeah, it is.
It's tempting.
You know, litre bikes I find a lot easier to wheelie anyway, which is obviously an enjoyable pastime on a private road. And you just think, well, therefore, if I was changing this for that, that's $5,000 just to pop wheelies. Whereas you could spend a couple, get this tricked out suspension wise, refreshed, tied up a swing arm.
You could wheelie any bike.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think probably keep it and spend some money on it. And do another 43,000 miles.
So to finish off then, Ben, two questions for you, mate. The first question I'd say is, if anybody is considering buying a bike in this class, 600, 750, and this is on their radar, what would you say to them?
Given the age and how long they've been out of production for, I would basically say that you really want to just do your research. Things like the reg, stuff like that. Just find out what the party pieces are.
Okay.
When you found one, look at it, check whether that's been done. Maybe use it as a negotiating price thing. That because if it's not been done, you're going to do it. And the other thing with these is make sure they haven't been tracked, or if they have, that you're paying the right price for it. That's the take time to make sure it's all. I don't think these have had frame issues. I think the litre bike of this era possibly did. Again, comments will correct me, but I think there's one model of GXSR, I think it was a litre one, where there was cracks on a few of them in the frame and
the
stuff.
frame or the swing line?
I can't remember what was the frame or swing.
That'd be interesting. I might have to look into
it. But I'm not familiar with the 750s having done.
Okay.
But these are all bikes. So I would be just extra careful, take your time.
But even then, like you say, it's an old bike, and it is. But the same with my Fireblade. A friend of mine's got a 2004 R1. Another friend recently sold a Kawasaki ZX10 from 2009, I think, or 10. And yes, by today's standards, they're old bikes. But actually, when you look at them,
to ride them as well.
They fit in, like the style, the looks. They fit in with even a brand new sports bike today.
100%.
Yes, there are differences and there are technological differences.
These are basic as anything. No ABS and nothing.
But they don't look out of place.
No,
they are beautiful bikes, and I don't know if you're the same as me. This sort of early to late 2000s was my favourite era for
totally agree.
sports bikes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then the final question, just before we wrap up then, Ben, one of the biggest debates in the world of motorcycles, actually, I want to get your thoughts. GXSR or GXSR?
Just get on and ride it. Call it whatever the fiddle you want.
Call it Karen.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So folks, that's awesome. And just before we close off, I'll do a quick walk around of the video in a second and I'll stitch that together. But if you want your bike featured, if you want to chat about the bike that you love, then just get in touch with me. We'll get together, we'll arrange to meet up somewhere, and we'll do the same. And hopefully this will bring lots of really useful information to people that follow me and beyond. People that are thinking about buying a bike, or people that just like listening to people talking about bikes. So that's the idea. So drop us a like and follow on TikTok. Drop us a like and subscribe on YouTube. I'm still getting used to the social media stuff. Like and subscribe on YouTube, which is where the full version of this video is going to go. I'll edit this into some shorts to go onto TikTok as well. So if you're watching this on TikTok, please drop me a follow. But also head over to YouTube and follow me there as well. But for now, Ben, fantastic. Thank you very much, mate.